Today's episode is brought to you by Loombox. Are you on a health kick like me? Red light therapy has so many benefits, including anti-aging, scar healing, mood lifting, and more. I use my Loombox twice a day for wrinkles on my face and to help me with my giant C-section scar healing. I truly feel like this little machine helped me through my seasonal depression this year too. Use the code Wheeler, that's WHEELER, for 40% off the full price of your self-care investment of red light therapy. Go to theloombox.com for more information. That's theloom, LUMEBOX.com, and use the code Wheeler at checkout. This episode is brought to you by Rise Mushroom Coffee. Whether you're wanting to make the coffee swap like me or add mushrooms to your morning routine, Rise is by far my favorite mushroom coffee. Drinking just 1 cup a day helps your digestive system. It keeps you focused all day long. It even helps build your immune system, and the list goes on and on. There is so much to mushrooms. Use the code Wheeler, that's WHEELER, at checkout for 15% off discount on your first purchase at risesuperfoods.com. That's RYZE superfoods.com. Okay, episode two. This is the episode that should have kicked off this podcast, but I had an awesome opportunity to interview an amazing actor. So episode 2 it is for the introduction of who I am and the introduction of this podcast. Hi guys, welcome to more content with Janell Wheeler. That's me, and we're going to be doing a solo episode. I'm a little nervous. I'm used to doing recordings but live, so I have a beautiful chat to interact with, and people are asking me questions and dialoguing with me. And so this is a very one-sided conversation at the moment, and it's something that I'm going to have to get used to. But I have notes. They're over here, which if you're watching on video, you can see. If not, just pretend like you are watching me and I'm pointing in a direction. But yeah, I'm excited to do this. I'm excited to talk about what the podcast is going to be about and kind of the vibe of it and what to expect and why you should subscribe and support it. And hopefully you'll like the content, and a little bit about me in case you don't really know my story. I know that I have a lot of awesome people that support me from my Twitch channel. I am a Twitch streamer, and I have an incredible community there who probably knows me better than most of my friends. Hopefully they'll learn a thing or two extra by tuning into this podcast, which I'm going to be recording live sometimes, but I would prefer to kind of do it in a quiet nature and a way that I can really dive deep with people, and there's no pressure of the live audience, because I know that freaks some people out. For me, it's comforting, but for other people, I think that they are a little uncomfortable with the liveness of it. Speaking of liveness, if you want to know something fun fact about me, I was on American Idol a really long time ago. I feel like that's kind of my biggest quote unquote claim to fame. Unfortunately, that's not what I wanted for my life. That wasn't the claim to fame I wanted. I really hoped to go beyond that one day, but here we are. I'm about to be 40, and it's my claim to fame. That and the fact that I lived down the street from Bob Ross growing up. If you don't know who that is, that's the Happy Trees guy with the big poofy hair, and he painted, and he had a lovely, sweet voice, and you can check him out when you're stoned on PBS, and it's spectacular. Not that I did that. Not that I would do such a thing. Definitely tuned into Bob Ross stoned. It's the best. So yeah, there are going to be no scripts, just vibes. I'm hoping that we can continue that throughout this entire journey on this podcast that I am recording for you guys right now. So we're about to get cozy, chatty, and possibly weird. I'm trying to think of how I would introduce myself. You guys are probably the same way. Depending on the situation, I introduce myself in different ways. The way that I introduce myself when I have people come into the live stream is, hey, I'm Janell. I'm a live streamer. I've been streaming for 8 years. I was on American Idol a long, long time ago. Bob Ross was my neighbor growing up. I host a podcast about superhero content with comicbook.com called Comic Book Nation. I love chatting with people. I love talking to people. The chat interaction is my favorite thing about live streaming. And then sometimes I'll have friends pop into the chat and be like, oh, Janelle, you have this other cool fun fact about you. And I always forget, oh, I'm a new mom. That is huge. I'm a dog mom. If you are watching the video, you can actually see my little pup laying behind me in his bed. And we are in my studio, which I've done all myself, which is pretty impressive because when I first started live streaming and creating content, your girl did not know how to do anything. I also lived in a teeny tiny little box with one window, no balcony, no walls. It was like a studio, and it was fun. It was my life. It was really cool. So the story of me, well, I'm from Orlando, Florida. I grew up in the land of Mickey Mouse, which resulted in a lot of really cool things, especially at that time in my life. As I mentioned earlier, I'm almost 40 years old. So I grew up in the era of the Lou Pearlman, Backstreet Boys, Take Five, Britney Spears, Mandy Moore, all of these. I don't think Britney Spears came out of Orlando, but a lot of these bands came through Orlando and were around Orlando and were a buzz in Orlando. And so I had that twinkle in my eye, as they say. I had that desire, I had that excitement, and I had that hope. Honestly, I kind of had that tease that it could happen. That you could make it. You could become, a professional musician and pop star. So I feel like that had a lot to do with kind of my deep belief since I was a kid that I was going to be famous and I was going to do it with music. And it was not even, it was just a part of my soul. It was just who I was. And anytime I felt lonely or kind of untalented, or I got rejected a lot because I was in the entertainment kind of loop. I was trying to go on auditions all the time and casting calls. I just always had this thought that it doesn't matter. I'm going to do this. Like, it's going to happen. This is going to happen for me. I never, ever, ever doubted. And it's really wild because that belief kind of lived in me all the way through being a child, my adolescence, into being a teenager, going into college, graduating, even getting like a big girl job, corporate job. I don't know why. I just always thought like there's more for me. I'm supposed to be doing more, and not something like what I would say I do now on Twitch, because I'm not by any means a very big and powerful content creator. I'm just not. I just thought I was going to do something really big. And I also made that my whole entire personality. I think there's a lot of bad things about that. I think that it put so much pressure on me, and it also I never lived fully in my successes. I never lived fully in anything that I really did a good job at, or any wins. For example, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm getting into this. One of my biggest regrets, am I going to cry on my first podcast with you guys alone? I'll never forget this. When I got through American Idol and I got to the top 24 and I was getting geared up to go to Hollywood Week, obviously only a select few people knew, and those people were my parents, and they were so excited for me and proud of me, and they know how hard I had been working at this my entire life. So a 21-year-old heading out there, 22-year-old, I was just freaked out. I signed all these crazy contract things. We'll kick you off the show if we find out that anyone knows. And I took it really, really seriously. I took it way too seriously, to the point where I got mad that my dad told my grandma, or my grandma told someone, and I was so upset. And I wasn't I took it out on my family for being excited and wanting to tell. I think it was a cable guy or something at my grandma's house. I cry about it. I still cry. I get emotional that I took the joy out of the moment. It really hurts, especially now that she's gone. And I didn't celebrate winning. I didn't give myself credit that I got as far as I did. I still don't. And I think I will always struggle with that. It's definitely something I've had to come to terms with as someone who wanted to be an entertainer. And it's not that I'm a D-lister because I don't even consider myself a D-lister. I consider myself a Z-lister. Anytime someone says that I am known in any way, I feel so cringy. I feel so uncomfortable with that because I don't think I've earned that in any way. It's one of those things that just makes me really uncomfortable because I do know famous people. I guess this brings me to my whole story of who I am, and you guys will get to know me really well. I've come to terms with a lot of not having success in my career the way I always hoped for, the way that I always dreamed. And I've really bought into being a mom and being just a healthy, happy person and living like a mindful existence and influencing in a positive way people, even if it's just 3 people who listen to this podcast or 10 people who come to my live show. I just want to try to give something to the world that means something. So boy, oh boy, has that changed from little baby Janell going, I just want to be a famous singer, to me just really wanting to contribute something. That's kind of where I am and where I've been. But throughout this entire series, you will get to know me more and more, and you'll hear my story more and more. And hopefully you like it. Hopefully you resonate with it a little bit. And yeah, hopefully we can share in some tears and laughter and joy and sadness and regrets and wins and all of those things. And hopefully we can also bring in some famous people and get them to share in those things, because I sometimes feel like those conversations on podcasts just don't happen. Like they're always goofy and silly. And even with my first episode, if you didn't catch it, it was with Vincent D'Onofrio. I really want to have him back and get a little bit more to like his heart. And I'm excited to learn and get better throughout this process at bringing that out of people. So one of my favorite compliments I received was from a friend of mine who I will have on the show. He's like, man, you got to do this podcast, Janell. You're so disarming. Like you're so easy to talk to. And I think you could bring out the good in people. And I'm like, oh man, okay, all right. And that was really one of the motivating factors. This friend is also the same friend that got me to start streaming on Twitch. So shout outs to Brandon. Now, let's swing it back into the D-lister, but to me, Z-lister status of who I am. I sent out this mass message to over 1,000 people in my Discord, asking them to send me any get to know you questions that they think would be great prompts for us to cover here on the podcast, for me to like talk to you guys and for people who don't know me very well to get to know me. I also put that call on my 10,000 follower Instagram. I know it's not a big number, but there's a reason I'm saying this. I got zero responses. Nobody responded, you guys. So I resorted to AI. This is a true story. I have my questions laid out in front of me, and I asked AI for questions, and I have not really read them. I basically just copied and pasted them into my show notes. So some of them I will have never even looked at. So I don't know what's coming. I haven't pre-written out answers or anything like that, but let's see how we did. Let's get this started. What's the last thing I laughed at so hard I couldn't breathe? Actually, you know, my kid. My kid, he's so funny, guys. He's at this age, he's 9 months, and he's hilarious. Everything he does is so funny. I loved watching him. We went to the zoo yesterday for the first time ever. And he does this new thing where he goes, and that's like him laughing. We call it the grudge. But he is like giggling. That's his giggle. And the more he does that, then I laugh. And then the more I laugh, he like goes into a squeal laugh. And then I laugh at that. And it happens back and forth nonstop. I will just start crying. I'm laughing so hard at him and he's laughing at me, and it's the best joy in the world. Who am I, by the way? You're talking to someone that didn't know if they ever wanted to have children, and now he's everything. He's everything to me. So highly suggest, if you're on the fence, have a kid. They're the best. Next question. What's a moment from my past that still cracks me up or makes me cringe when I think about it? Oh man, national television. My cringiest moment ever was when I was on American Idol, and it was during Hollywood Week. We'll do a whole episode where we talk to somebody else who's been on reality television, and we will dive deep into all the behind the scenes stuff. But I basically was between singing a Michael Jackson song or a Taylor Swift song. Note, I don't love Taylor Swift. It's not that I can't stand her as a human being. It's just not my style of music. I've never liked that type of music. It's just she's the voice, the storytelling type of songwriting. I don't like it. I'm probably going to lose any amount of listeners that I had on here. They're just going to be like, peace. She doesn't like Taylor Swift. I was playing a role. On American Idol to seem like the girl next door, the really, really sweet gal who sings country music, because the producer basically said, you're our country girl. You sound great singing country. I said, okay, great. I'll do that. If that's what you would like, I will do that. I can do that. And I was already kind of pursuing country anyways. So I went for it. Unfortunately, I did not know country. I didn't grow up listening to country. My parents didn't listen to country. I didn't live in the country. By the way, I was on American Idol in season 9, 2010. Things were different back then. This is at the height of bro country. We're talking Florida Georgia Line, Luke Bryan, and the soulful and kind of really cool lyrical stuff just was not happening right now. It wasn't happening. So Taylor Swift or Michael Jackson. That was my other song that I was thinking about singing. And Michael Jackson, man, he's my favorite artist of all time, my favorite performer, my favorite writer, my favorite musician of all time. I love Michael Jackson. I stayed up all night waiting to rehearse my song. And at the end, it's so crazy. I had a producer or someone, maybe it was one of the rehearsal people or some, I can't quite remember, but someone in power on the show on Idol could tell that I was really trying to mull over if I was going to sing Michael Jackson, which would have been a dream come true, or Taylor Swift. And Michael Jackson had tons of people. No one wanted the Taylor Swift song. No one. And I was gently encouraged. If you're listening and not watching, I just did air quotation marks. I was gently encouraged to sing Taylor Swift, because they said, oh, wow, it's a real shame that you're not singing Taylor Swift, because you would be the only one, wink, wink, which to me was, hey, if you sing Taylor Swift, we'll probably put you through the next round. And so that's me being in the entertainment industry as long as I was, or trying to be. I went, oh, wow, okay, this is my in. I got this. So I'll sing Taylor Swift, even though I don't know these lyrics and I can't stand this song and it doesn't suit my voice and it's not my vibe. Taylor Swift was a young girl. She was 5 years younger than me. Back then, that's a big gap. Janell is dancing on tables, drunk in the club, living by herself in an apartment, working a big girl job, paying her taxes. Taylor Swift was teardrops on a guitar. I'm a teenager. My boyfriend broke up with me. I love you more than she does. Da, da. We were different vibes for sure. And I was trying so hard to fit in to this mold that they wanted me to fit into. And so I did it. Completely messed up the lyrics. The lyrics were, I was crying on the staircase, begging you, please don't go. And I sang, I was crying on the bedpost, begging you, please don't go. That immediately flips it to a sexualized song. So I did not mean to do that. I can't believe they aired it, honestly. And it is my biggest cringe moment of my life. I don't think I will ever live it down. And I can't, because it's all over the internet. And it was on national television. So that sucks. And also, I just sang it terribly. So I messed up the lyrics. I sang it terribly. It was just bad. So that's definitely the biggest cringe. Sorry for the very, very long story there, but hey, you're getting to know me. So it works. We're only, 20 minutes into the podcast. Question 2, it's all good. What's a time I thought I had it figured out, but life said, nah, try again? Okay, AI. Many, 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 many times. But I would say the biggest time was, or has been, the biggest times, plural, have been in relationships. I have been in some gnarly relationships. I would say that there have probably been worse circumstances, but I tend to get into relationships and stick with them for way too long. We are way past expiration date. There is no love left in the building between one or both of us. There is no future to be had. And yet I am holding on for dear life because I'm comfortable and because when I love people, I really do love with my whole heart, even if it's maybe not the way that certain people want to be loved or it's not the right love. I hate letting people out of my life go because I don't have many close people. And when I do let people in, I hate to lose them. If I could, I would be BFFs with all of my exes because they just know me so well. I've spilled my heart out to them and they know me really well. And most of the time when I was in relationships, it would be fun. We would be friends, have a good time. We'd spend time together. But there were two relationships that are really sticking out in my head that, oh man, I'm so glad that I finally just ripped the Band-Aid off. One of them was when I was living in Tampa. I was with this guy for 4 years and he was terrible. He cheated on me many times. We would just argue all the time. He would be so disrespectful. He would leave me out of all of his plans. He never wanted me around, even though his friends liked having me around. They were very nice guys. He turned all of his girlfriends against me. They all hated me and they didn't even know me. They never hung out with me. They just hated my existence because I'm sure he was telling them bad things about me. I don't know. He was so conniving. And it was during Idol. I found out he was cheating on me when I was on American Idol. When I came back, this was wild. I was kind of figuring out, what do I do? I'm off of this show. I'm at a turning point in my life. I really want to pursue it professionally and hard. What's the next step? And so I was looking at moving to LA, Miami, and Nashville. Miami would have been for more of the EDM and I don't know, hosting and stuff. That was just going to be for fun. LA would have been to really dive into trying to get into acting and hosting and pop and stuff like that. And Nashville would have been an easy route because I had friends in Nashville and I also was kind of pigeonholed into that country stuff anyways. I was visiting Nashville, checking it out. And I called my boyfriend at the time and I was like, hey, what's going on? How are you doing? He's like, well, I have to tell you something. I was like, oh, great. What's up? He's like, well, that trip that we've been wanting to go on to Europe for a really long time. We've been talking about going to, I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, I'm going. And I was like, oh my gosh, when are we going? Where are we going? When are we going? Tell me more. He goes, oh no, you're not coming. I'm going with my guy friends. Sorry about it. And that was the moment. That was the minute that I went, okay, this guy is not serious about me. And even if he is, he does not know how to be serious about me. So I hung up that phone. I looked at my friend that I was staying with and I go, yo, I'm moving here. It's done. I'm not even going to tell my boyfriend he's leaving for Europe without me. I'm going to move here. Let's talk about living options. And it was a really, really hard decision. It was extremely emotional and very difficult for me because I had to break it off. I hate doing that. That's very hard, especially when your heart is still in it. But I broke it off with him and I moved to Nashville and I didn't look back. And we tried. He definitely tried to save the relationship, and it was a good try. I mean, it was the most emotion I had ever seen from him. It was the most commitment that I had ever seen from him, but I just knew it wasn't going to happen. It couldn't work. and he wasn't right for me. I just knew it. So that was that was a nah, try again moment for sure. Ooh, I like this question. What is my guilty pleasure show or movie I've rewatched way too many times? Easy answer. Spice World. Spice World from the Spice Girls. If you have not seen it, I'm so sorry. Spice World is the best. It has the best soundtrack ever. It's like a superhero team of pop stars. It's just irresistible. It's so lighthearted. It's so happy. It reminds me of my childhood. I was obsessed with the Spice Girls. They were my favorite. I even did a talent show with my girlfriends in middle school, and we all dressed up as the Spice Girls, and I choreographed a dance for us to do, and it was so fun. I was Baby Spice. And although looking back, I probably am more of a ginger. Like, I'm probably Ginger Spice, but I wanted to be Baby so much. Like, I wanted to be liked. Ginger, she had a lot of controversy around her, and she was feisty, and you know what? Like, that's really who I am. I was in denial my whole life thinking I was Baby Spice, but I know I'm Ginger. But I am Ginger Spice, but my favorite Spice Girl is Baby Spice. Anyways, best movie ever. I would watch this movie 1,000 times over. When I was pregnant, I was desperately trying to find this movie anywhere to stream to help me with my pregnancy hormones. I had so much anxiety. I could not sleep at night at all. I had a rough pregnancy, y'all. And I could not find this movie anywhere. What the heck? Get this movie on Prime or anything. I will buy it. I will buy this movie. I don't understand why it's not on any streaming sites. It's ridiculous. Stop gatekeeping, Spice Girls. Allow us to watch your fantastic film. Okay. What's a dream I've chased that didn't work out, but I'm still glad I went for it? Well, I feel like this is, okay, AI, you failed a little bit on this one. It's pretty obvious, the singing thing. I would have loved for that dream to pan out. I'm obviously glad I did it. I had some amazing adventures. I've traveled the world with music, and I've written with some incredible people. I've played some incredible stages. I've made my family proud, things like that. I do wish that it went a little further, but not with what I was currently doing. So clearly it's all meant to be. There was a reason why it shouldn't have worked. Also, I don't ever want anyone to think that I think I'm the best singer. I don't think I'm the best singer. I just think I had a lot of drive, a lot of heart, a lot of good intention. And you know, with all this Puff Daddy stuff coming out, you know what? Sometimes a lot of people don't make it because of those things. People make it because of other shady things. So, you know, I guess, again, meant to be. What is the most random thing I've Googled this week? I don't know. Let's pull up my Google. I love this keyboard because you can actually hear it. Well, I only have what I Googled today. And what I Googled today is how to pronounce Leviathan. Leviathan. Hold on. Hold on.
Leviathan.
There you go. Leviathan. That's kind of random. I also found myself, we did this stream tonight called Media Share. It's where the chat basically requests all of the songs and all of the playlists and videos that get played in the stream, and I react to them, which is so much fun. And I really was into this band called Sleep Token. I feel bad that I was sleeping on Sleep Token because I've heard of them several times, but I just never really got into it. I think I was discouraged by, they wear very frightening masks. And what a shame. What a shame it's been that I have not been into them because I've Googled them 4 times, Sleep Token tours, hoping they would come here. Just Sleep Token masks, Sleep Token reacts, Sleep Token covers. Anyways, so that's on there. I don't know if that's really random, but that's cool. Oh, hi, Yandu. Ooh, this is an interesting one. What is one thing I used to be dead set against that I flipped on, and what changed my mind? Are we keeping it this real in the first episode? I really hope that people still want to listen to this. I've been dead set against, I've been dead set for so many different things in my life. But I've never been so against something that I'm mean to others who don't believe what I believe or view things the way that I view things. I've never been like that. I do my research on lots of different topics. I think it's important to do that. I think it's important to figure out where you stand, what you believe, all of those things, but to also remain open, to have an open mind, to have an open heart, to realize that we are being inundated with so much information, and some of it is straight up lies that our media is selling us. A lot of things in the world that we live in right now are not for us. They're not in our best interest. They're in the best interest of corporations, money, profits, and it's sad. It hurts. It hurts to come to that realization. It's not easy. It's not easy to wake up and realize, like, oh my gosh, like this healthcare system is really not working in my favor. It really doesn't have my best interests at heart. And like, for example, if you don't know this about me, I'm a really clean eater, and I don't participate in like all of the chemical stuff. I did this kind of refresher when I decided that I wanted to have a kid. I went through a fertility testing. I got some tough results, and my husband and I decided, well, since I'm getting older, why don't we freeze my eggs? And before we do that, let's get me in really solid, good shape so that I have the most viable chance of having a successful retrieval of eggs. So like, we only had enough money to do it one time. One time, make or break. Let's prep our bodies. Let's do the research, figure out what's going to give us the best chance, and then implement that. Because here's the thing. If it's all he said, she said, and BS, and it doesn't help you to go clean, no harm, no foul. Like, it doesn't. So I ate clean, lost a bunch of weight, and felt really good. But if eating processed foods and wearing chemicals all over your body, if that kind of thing is true, and it does mess up your fertility, and it does mess up your, mind and things like that, you'll never know. So that's what we did. And during that time that I cleaned everything up, we had an OOPSIE. And it just goes to show you. So ever since I did that, ever since I did the clean kind of reset, like I don't get my nails done anymore, which has been such a bummer, man. It's so hard to not have like really fancy pants nails. But when I started eating well, my nails kind of just started growing on their own, and they don't break into a million pieces. So that's nice. The only toxic thing that I am really committed to is my hair. Although it looks terrible right now. And I was going to talk about this at the beginning of the pod. It looks horrible. So I am so sorry if you're watching and you're thinking, wow, this girl looks ridiculous. I did hot yoga. I'm a mom. I don't have a lot of time. I took this opportunity. My baby is asleep. My husband is out. And I was like, I'm just going to record this podcast. I feel motivated and happy. And you know what? Who cares if I look a little disheveled? That is my life. So what was the question? Squirrel. I have ADHD as well. And just in case people didn't know, dead set against something and flipped on. I have flipped on so many things, and I will just be really honest about this. I don't like to talk about politics. I don't even really talk about religion a ton because I just want everyone to have the freedom to believe what they want to believe in. But since we're on a get-to-know-you basis, I have flip-flopped on politics throughout my entire political life. Hate politics. Hate it. Hate it all. Hate it all. I've flipped with my religion. I was raised Catholic. Now I consider myself more of like a spiritual being and not really into anything in particular other than praying, aka meditation for me, to the universe makes me feel really connected. I believe in Mother Nature. I love getting grounded. I'm your hippie friend that plays video games. It's really weird. And I watch like The Bachelor and Love Island and things like that. But I digress. I think that everyone should think about their lives, take a deep breath, and think about how much they have flipped and how many times they've had the freedom, they've been allowed to change their mind on topics and just be more graceful to one another. I really wish that we had that, because we're being just thrown to the wolves on social media and media in general. It's all the negative. It's all the bad. It's never the good. I hate that. I just wish that we could get a little bit more into loving one another, honestly. Loving ourselves and loving one another. It's kind of what I say at the end of my stream, love yourself, love others. I don't know if that answered the question, but hey, you're getting to know me, and that's my opinion on some things. So let's get into a couple questions that AI decided to send my way about the podcast, just so you have an idea of what's kind of to be expected and if this is something you're into. And I really hope you are. But yeah, let's talk about some of that stuff. Now, I have a few guests already lined up, so it won't just always be a solo Janell talking to you guys, but I'm not afraid to do the solo thing. I also asked my dad if he would come on and chat with me about some things. I also asked one of my best friends, who is also on another podcast, to come on our show and maybe talk about pop culture and some hot topic items, maybe get drunk together and answer some love advice. I've been mulling around this idea of bringing my high school bully on and chatting to them. Of course, I would not throw them to the wolves. I would make sure that I'm acknowledging, I'm going to say, hey, the title of the episode is, so they're not just completely taken aback. But we're going to have fun with this. So let's see what AI has pulled up for us. What's a moment that inspired you to start more content? I don't know the exact moment, but I do remember in the middle of COVID just begging for more content. So I'm on another podcast. It is called Comic Book Nation. I'm the token female, and we talk about comic book related things, superhero, TV shows, movies, news, like geek news, video games, Pokemon, wrestling, like the whole shebang. It's a lot of work. I have to keep up with a lot of stuff. But I remember there was this little lull during the COVID times where I was just desperately needing more content. So I would just start shouting like, more content on these episodes. And it kind of became my catchphrase. And when I started thinking about my own podcast, I said, man, I should just take that phrase, but break it down a little bit more. And so in my mind, I would be taking a shower and I'd be like, oh, welcome to More Content with Janell Wheeler. This podcast is about content of character. And I would just talk about these things to myself. This is since COVID time. So we're talking years that I've wanted to start this podcast. I've had it in my mind. I've wanted to do it. Like I always do, I get really overwhelmed. Where are my ADHD peeps at? I get really overwhelmed with the amount of work it takes to do something. And I kind of get frozen. I can't move and I can't finish a task. I can't even start it because it just feels so overwhelming. So that's kind of what's been happening. Which, it's leading us to the next question. What's a moment that inspired me to start recording this thing? Thank you, AI. One day, hopefully we'll look back on this episode and we'll have like real people that send in questions and I can like put sound bites of them asking questions. I don't know. But what was the spark that got me to hit record on this thing? It was actually Vincent D'Onofrio. He was on my other podcast. We interviewed him. He and I really hit it off. And I just really enjoyed chatting with him. And afterwards, he's like, Janell, you mentioned you're starting your own podcast. I was like, yeah, I'm going to start my own podcast. Bleh. Not really being serious. It was always in my mind, but I didn't do it. And he goes, well, whenever you get that going, let me know and I'll be on it. And I said, okay, thanks, Vincent. Not thinking that he really would. years later, because this was during the pandemic, years later, as in a couple weeks ago, Vincent messages me on Twitter and he says, "Hey, I'm a man of my word. I promised you that I would come back on your podcast and talk to you about Daredevil when it comes back. And it's about to air." And I went, "Oh shit." Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And I started typing. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I have to start this podcast." And he said, here's my contact information. Please get it lined up with my management and I would love to come on your show. And I went, "Oh my God, I don't have a show." I was like, "Hey, Vincent, just asking, do you by chance want to come on the comic book podcast or were you thinking more on my podcast?" He goes, "No, I want to come on your podcast and specifically Twitch, which is the live show." I was very overwhelmed. I did everything myself. If you guys didn't know, if I can do this, anyone can do it. If you're listening to this, you can start your own podcast. I swear to you. If you need a pep talk or if you need me to tell you how to start this, I figured it out myself and I am not tech savvy. I am very disheveled. I have a child that I have to be with like 24 hours of the day. Like if I can do this, anyone can. But I did everything myself. I found the streaming/recording software. I did my own editing of the episode. I did all the social media, reserving the name. I uploaded onto each podcasting site individually because I went through Spotify podcasters because they have video, blah, blah, blah. It's a long story. I made my own logo. The only thing I have left to do is I need to do a photo shoot. I would like to have a little bit cuter cover art, but I did make my cover art too, which is why it probably doesn't look very good. Please forgive me. Okay. Next question. What's the one thing I want listeners to feel when they tune in? Oh man, I would just love the listeners to laugh at times. I would love listeners to feel like they have a place to go to take their mind off of the really, really heavy stuff. I like that. I like to watch the Meghan Markle Netflix series because I forget about bad stuff. I like to watch, bad reality TV because sometimes it helps me escape. I hope people feel that way with my pod. I hope they feel, do we say pod? Do we say podcast? I don't know. I hope they feel like they can relate in some way. I hope they feel inspired to try different things or to learn things. I don't know, to be open-minded, to take a deep breath, to live in the moment. I just really hope that I influence in some way that is not superficial, like when you're scrolling Instagram and you're just looking at hot chicks in bikinis. Although I love hot chicks in bikinis. I hope that I'm more of your scrolling and you come across a quote that really hits you. I hope I'm more of that and less of the comparison, the thief of joy, that kind of stuff, or just like superficial stuff. I hope I'm stopping some doom scrolling, really. So if you're doom scrolling right now, please stop. Next question. Why do I think unfiltered chats like this matter right now? That's a good question. I think it's important that we pull the curtain back. I think it's important to talk about things that have really made or I guess kind of broken others so that you can relate to them. I think it's important that that is fleshed out and that it's exposed from time to time. And I hope to provide that a little bit. Now, we don't have to live in those negative moments and we can have fun and laugh and just talk about our lives. But I really hope that we can, so funny, I'm answering an AI question, but I really hope we can humanize and just feel more human together. I think that's what we need. We need to feel more human together. I feel like we've lost so much of the things that make us human. Like even just being in nature is something so simple, but I feel like so many of us really aren't. And we don't get out there and we don't just live in nature. And it's just so human for us to do so and to have meaningful conversations. You can't do that with AI. I mean, I guess maybe some people can figure out how to do it, but just to really expose the beauty of what it's like to be a human, to pull the curtain back and to stop the doom scrolling and just be and relate to one another. I feel like that's good. Yeah, I like that answer. All right, in conclusion, there is so much to tell. Obviously, I'm just one person, but I've been on this planet for 40 years. I've wanted to do this podcast for quite some time. I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that I wasn't annoying during this episode. And I hope that we can really dive deep for you and give you some inspiration and motivation and laughter. I hope that we can have some awesome guests for you. I hope we provide authenticity and vulnerability and I don't know, just hopefulness and good vibes, really. Good vibes, no scripts. I don't know, is that my new catchphrase? More content with Janell Wheeler. Good vibes, no scripts. Sure, I dig it. I hope you guys tune in and stick around. And I really appreciate if you've taken any time at all to listen, and especially to a solo episode with little old me, who really, I have so much to learn and I have so far to go. And I really feel like you're going to get probably TMI in my time here, but I'm just going to try my best and hopefully you guys like it. So thank you so much for watching/listening. If you ever want to catch me on Twitch, I'm live at twitch.tv/Janell, and we get into lots of conversations and things like that. It's really fun. If you have any ideas for the podcast, seriously, just drop them anywhere in any comment. I read all of them. I shouldn't, but I do. Well, I'm also nobody, so I don't really get hateful comments anymore. If you have hateful comments, put it over on the other podcasts, because I don't read those. And and anyways, just thank you for being here. You guys are awesome. And I hope you have a really great day. And I'll see you next week for a fun episode, I think, with my friend Haley. So stay tuned.